start yapping your trap? Yep, we're ready. Okay. Okay, let's get ready here. Focus up here. You guys ready? I want to see the hands wave. Okay, as I look around, many of you have your pajamas on. That is not allowed in school or in here. Okay. Remember how I explained about part of the history here? Well, 2 months ago, you know, we talked about the Boise history. Then we talked about Frank Gooding. And now we're going to talk about the school here, ISDB. From 1910, well, 1906, it was 4 years in Boise, and then moved here in 1910 and was set up here. You know, some of the buildings have been destroyed, and new ones are built. So here's some pictures of the old structures. There's the cafeteria that we still have. The girls' dorm was then next to the cafeteria. And then this area right here where we're at, the Casey building. All of this here is gone. The school building that was over here is gone. The main hall is gone. And the boys' dorm changed. This section is gone. The second gym is gone. And this part here is still here. That big column that you see out there, that is still here. And then this part here is gone. So that is the older one. Now here's the new one. So here's the cafeteria. The gym that we have is right here. The old gym isn't there anymore. And then we have the cottages. Today the cottages, there's one right there, and they come around like in a circle. And we have 6 cottages right there in that area. So we'll explain more as we see the different pictures throughout my slide. Can you turn the light off, please? So we're going to start with the first superintendent from Boise. It's a dark picture because it's very old. That was James T. Watson. He was the superintendent in Boise, Idaho, the first one. He was the first president of the Washington School in Idaho for the
Washington School for the Deaf first and then came here.
Okay. So he was at the Washington School for the Deaf first and then came here. And he was here for 3 years, and he chose not to move to Gooding when it moved here. So this is the second superintendent. He was first the principal, the Boise principal. Remember how we talked about the fire that happened? In the morning, the boys lined up and were ready to eat, and the principal was observing them and heard the fire warning and escorted them out. And then later he came back and became the superintendent after that. And this is the first one built here. It's the main building. And that was located right there. The upper floor was the boys' dormitory. And there was a wall to divide boys on one side, girls on the other side. And then the second floor was all the classrooms. And then the basement was the cafeteria, or the bottom floor. And the very up high, that was the gym. The very top floor was the gym. It was built in 1910. Cost $25,000 to build. Then this was the second building that was built, and this became the boys' dorm. And it is gone, it is no longer here. And that cost $30,000 to build that one. So then we have the boys' dorm. And this is the front porch. And then they changed it and took it away later. They took it off later. The blind boys are on the lower floor and the deaf boys are on the upper floor. And that was storage for the suitcases or whatnot, whatever went upstairs. Then the third superintendent is William E. Taylor. And he was a very good superintendent. He was superintendent for 9 years. Same name as Taylor.
Different last name.
His name sign was a T on the chest to represent Taylor. What's your name sign, Taylor Schultz? T from chin to chest. Okay. Next, we added another building. Next to the west wing. So they added the west wing to the main building. And this became the blind school. The infirmary was on the upper floor. On the lower floor, food storage. You see this little opening under the stairs? We could hide underneath there. Oh, that's where they kept the fire hose hidden. They'd have to drag it out if needed. This was in the cafeteria. Find another chair. No, she goes. No, you go sit over there. I'm sitting here, it's fine. She can go sit over there. But it was empty, so I sat down. You guys done now? We're waiting on you. So this was a dishwasher in the old cafeteria down in the basement. And see all the same racks? They'd stack the dishes and the cups and the plates in there and then run them through. Still looks the same. It's real similar to the ones that we use still. This is the main building, and this is the northeast corner. We have pictures that show it all the way around. Then here's a southeast corner. You see that area there? It actually opened up. And that's how you could get down into the storage.
Mm-hmm.
Truck would came and back up to it, then they could unload. And then they could unload it down in there. Something about being hot.
Dirty.
It was a fire escape. It was a cylinder and the stairs were a circular staircase that went down. And then it opened up at the bottom. There was an opening. So there are 3 of those. Now they're gone. But there's still some places out in the country that have those. There's west of the main building. which is, then there's a red brick barn back out here, and it's gone. It was a brick barn, and it wasn't really important anymore. It was the chicken house. There's two, there's only one. And we grew a garden here. The boys and girls helped. Mostly the boys helped with the farming. Then here's the fourth superintendent. It's the first woman superintendent in Idaho. University of Idaho, Idaho State will tell all of them this is the first superintendent. Her name is Ethel M. Hilliard. This is the first chicken house. So this part was old over here, then this is the newer section of it. So 1926 they added the second chicken house for $700. We had many, many chickens. We'd have 200 eggs every single day. 200 eggs every day that we'd have to eat. 200 eggs all day long. Sometimes the boys would go in and throw them and play with them back and forth and break the eggs and have a mess. Here's the road line is what it's called. The boys' dorm here. We called it road line. And it went all the way around, and we still have it. And it's the area that goes past the boys' dorm, that old road that goes still past that old boys' dorm out there. That's the road, and we still have it. And that's the school building, right there. We'll show you another slide later of that. This is the second gym. And there's the boiler room and the big old stack off of it. We had the wood shop. And that's right there in that area. That's a school building. And it had that was all of it together, 1920. We had science. The girls' dorm. It was a girls' dorm at first, and then later it became a classroom. We have the fifth superintendent, Clarence J. Settles. And his name sign was an S on the forehead. It was first the dorm, and then it changed and became the classroom. Can you
voice the questions? He was asking about the girls' dorm became a classroom.
So then the girls were at girls' classroom upstairs and boys downstairs. Not at the same time, no. He then moved to the Florida School for the Deaf. Then we have another superintendent named Gray in Florida that was underneath him. He got a job and came here and became superintendent. So they flip-flopped places. So he went to Florida, and the Florida superintendent came here. This is an old barn located right out here. You know, we had the red brick barn, and this was the second barn. Now see the bus here? When I grew up here, we didn't have school buses, only cars. So they parked, there were 7, 8, or 9 different buses now, but right here, this is where the red brick barn that you can see, and then the second barn. And it had the weather vane on top. And we have that in the museum. And somebody had stolen something, but someone had found it, went looking for it, and took it and put it back in the museum. After it was torn down, someone had stolen it, and it was refound and put in there. And then we had a silo over there, a large silo. For feed. And then you see the swing set there. That was probably one of my favorite activities, was swinging on a big swing. Here we are working, people are working in the garden. Or feeding the cows. We had to feed the cows as well. I think we had 30 cows that we had to feed. Here we go. It's very interesting about the cows. Okay. Please pay attention. Okay. So a story about the cows. There's some, in regards to the University of Idaho and Idaho State University in Pocatello, there was some sort of a competition. And several times we kept winning first place because of our cows were good cows. They were purebred Holstein, and from 1930 to 1957, then they were sold. And they weren't milk cows anymore. And then we started buying milk from the dairymen. But we didn't milk the cows anymore ourselves. So 1957, I was in college at that time. They'd sold the cows. And the cows sold for $300 each. You know, that was pretty good. Or they thought it was pretty good, but it wasn't. The cows were good cows. They're expensive cows. Purebred. At first we just had cows that were not purebred. Then at a certain point we started focusing on having purebred Holstein dairy cows. Okay, the next slide. I have a question. I'm looking at the picture with all the different cows and stuff. So you guys had the farm and had to take care of everything? Many boys worked on the farm after school. They had cows and pigs, horses, and some chickens. But the boys would help. Most of the boys left at the age of 16 to go back home and work on the farms at home. And then times changed and they started staying until they graduated, and many graduated. At first the girls would graduate and the boys wouldn't because they'd go back home, and you'd see all these girls graduate, all these graduates, and hardly any boys. And then later it changed and more boys were staying to graduate. Would you say there's more boys that are deaf than girls, or about an equal balance? Now the boys tend to stay and graduate because they don't have to go back home and work on the farm. Okay, here's a sixth superintendent, Burton W. Driggs. I grew up, and he was a superintendent for 12 years. He's from North Dakota, and he moved here to become superintendent. Do you remember some of the other superintendent that moved here from North Dakota as well? His older brother Driggs. He was from Driggs. And the name sign was the D on the forehead. Before it was S and then a P and now a D. So those are some different signs. So Driggs, he didn't like this. And so he took that sign down. When he saw that, do you guys know, do you know where it was at? Yeah, I don't like that either. Well, I don't know, I think it's cool. Well, because it looked like an institution, he didn't want it to look like an institution. It is a school, not an institution. So here's the school building. And that road is still there. And it was right at the entrance. We have the dorm there, the main building, and the school building. Here's 1940. And we still have that stack there. We still have the stack over by the gym. 60 feet tall. And now it's painted red. Before it was yellow. Many schools all over north of Idaho have these stacks. There was a power plant, you know, the boiler that boiled, where the water would boil and stuff.
We don't
No,
have that.
deaf
still?
school. This is a deaf school. Not just here, other schools have it. Now, other public schools did not have dormitories. But other places had it, but most of them are gone now. That building is still here. Ken is, that's his office, the maintenance area, or no, the shop. So right here is the stack. And now the buses go right to the other side of it. So that was also the laundry area for the hot water. And the power plant was all in that area. Now this is a boys' dorm that you see that we call the old boys' dorm. This is that one that we still have here on campus. Very big and fancy. It was cost $100,000 in 1941 to build. And it was built by the War Corp from World War II. Oh, and in the attic was a full-on floor, so you didn't have to go from beam to beam. Very fancy. It was structured and built very nice. Here's the east side. See, there's a smokestack.
The school before? What?
What was the last name? What did you say that again? No, don't have a last name. So here's the boys' dorm. And the big boys are on one side, little boys are on the other side. There's the little girls, and little girls are the boys. The boys and girls. Boys would write notes, and
Sending out the window notes. So
oh,
the girls could get the, okay, boy. He'd send notes to each other out the window. on strings, you know, tie a note and hand it down the window to the girls underneath. And then they'd get it right back, and then they'd go back and forth with the notes up and down. You don't know what a string is? You know, up and down on the string? Okay. You'd look out the window and say, okay, send it down. And they'd tie the note to the string. Okay, now this is the first boys' dorm. The building changed. And they took the front porch off, remember? They took that all down. Became the VR for rehab, for vocational. They did the sewing and the cooking. They learned vocational things. They had an art section, typing, keyboarding, or typing then. And in the back, they did beauty, you know, hair. They fixed the hair like a salon. And then down, they had a leather working. They made things with leather, shoes, belts. And before they had a shower room, boys' dorm shower room. It was always hot water. And the boiler room was there, so the water was always hot. And here in front down on this end, in the basement, the newspaper printing, they printed. Print shop. Okay. Now there's a new addition to the boys' dorm. They added another section. It's yellow brick. There's a bathroom. They added one on each side of the building. Now the vocational building, now there's trees. This tree is still out here. Have you seen it? So, oh, outside of the tar pit, it's a big tree. Oh, out by the Spirit Rock. It's still there. This tree's gone, this big one right in front. And then over here by where the cottage is, that's gone too. Those trees are gone. 1969 maybe or so, they took it down. These are really old pictures. Who wants to get back? There's a basketball court. They had an old basketball. Oh, the old gym was right there, the back behind. Now wood shop. They took that down. Ken really liked that. He remembers it. Okay, the superintendent's home here in the round building, right here. The garage. I couldn't find a good picture of that, so just have to see it from a distance. A long time ago there was a welding room, and it changed to a 6-car garage. This is the old one. And now this is the current one. Going on over here, you guys okay? You done? Done moving? Done giggling? You finished? Okay. Now, the old one's gone. That boiler room's gone, this building's gone, this building's gone. And now, that's the old boys dorm now. that we still have. Look at the trees. In front there, those trees. Remember the trees in front of the cottage? And cottage 1 that were torn down or cut down? That was that tree. I'll explain later. Hang on. There's two big white birch trees together there. The 1936 class planted those, but one died. And in 2011, I cut down the other one. So now, cottages, no, the cafeteria, right here. And over next is the girls' dorm. And now it's right here where we are. The Casey building now, it was for the blind. They had an apple orchard out here, apple trees. Ken? Those are apple trees. And this is a home. A deaf boy lived there. Trying to remember his name. Lived in this little house. The cottages now are right in this area. Cottage 1, cottage 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. They go in a circle, all the cottages. Okay?
So where's Main Street at? This is Main Street right there. Yeah, there's trees that lined it.
There was a sidewalk. There's a sidewalk. Long time ago.
And Governor Frank Gooding donated the land to the deaf school. They built a sidewalk from the train station all the way to ISDB, 1 mile long. And then, out to where McDonald's is. The road extended all the way out there. And it was only on this side, it was not on the other side. And it went all the way from the train station, the sidewalk, all the way to the old college out here by where McDonald's is being built. That's how long the sidewalk went. Is our time up? We have 2 minutes left. So, why did they tear down some of the houses and the buildings?
Talk more about that next. This is the old barn and the road. Okay, now, where's the infirmary? Where is it? The road in front of the infirmary. It wasn't safe, so they closed it and put a new one.
Put it on the other side of the infirmary. go ahead and stop there and continue more next month. We have a lot of slides. I think we have like 70 or 80 pictures. We're on 32. Thank you for your time. Do we have any questions? So 1950s. Oh, there was a lot of snow. Yeah. And now it's just sporadic, but at that time it was every single year. It seemed like every 10 years we'd get a lot of snow. And it was cold. Okay. Thank you for your time. Do more next month.